Peace y'all, I am ICC, and today I will be showing you guys some differences in modded controllers and USB gaming devices. The first thing about modded controllers is that they will only work with the console they are intended for. If you buy a modded PS3 controller, it will only work on a PS3 console. If you want to use it on a PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360, then you will need a controller for each console. All work on multiple consoles, and you can use any controller you have for any of the supported consoles. You can use PS3 or PS4 controllers on Nintendo Switch or Xbox One and Xbox 360, or Xbox controllers on Nintendo or PlayStation consoles. For example, an Xbox 360 controller on a PS4, or a PS3 controller on an Xbox One, or an Xbox One controller on a Nintendo Switch, or any combo you can think of. These devices work on PS4, PS3, Xbox One, Xbox 360, Nintendo Switch, Android, Raspberry Pi, Mac, and PC. Want to use a Nintendo Switch controller on your PS4? Then this is the right device for you. Modded controllers usually have a set number of default modes. This controller here, for example, has 10 different default modes. Just click the button on the back to cycle through the modes. The default modes already have the buttons and the speed set. So for example, one mode is turbo button for R1, so you can turn a semi-automatic into a fully automatic. Another mode would have turbo on R1 and L1, so you have dual wield turbo. Some modded controllers will give you a few custom slots. These will allow you to adjust the speed of the turbo. This is about the only customization you're going to get out of a modded controller. You can set any button to be anything you want. If you want R2 to have turbo or R1 to have turbo, you can do exactly that. Any button on the controller can be set to any speed. You can also program macros or combos into a single button. If you want an automatic Hadouken in Street Fighter, that's easy. The Titan 2 allows for macros up to 24 days long, so I am 100% sure it's long enough for your average gamer and probably even most hardcore gamers. If your modded controller needs repairs, maybe a new analog or something even worse, then you will need to fix it or unsolder the mods to solder them into a good controller. You only have one controller with the mod, and if that controller doesn't work, you are out of luck. Since it's not a mod in the controller, if your controller doesn't work anymore, you can grab another controller and just plug it in. All your mods will be up and running. Scuf, Elite, and Razer Raiju controllers are different than your average modded controller. These controllers have extra paddles so you can hit buttons easier and simultaneously. These don't have any script or macro functions, but you can actually use these in conjunction with the USB gaming devices. Use a PS4 Razer Raiju on Nintendo or Xbox consoles, or use an Xbox One Scuf controller on Sony or Nintendo consoles. On top of that, when using them both together, you can script buttons to act as combos or macros. I don't necessarily recommend the Titan devices over a Scuf or Elite controller, or even vice versa, because they serve a different purpose. I would, however, recommend combining these controllers with a device like the Titan 2 so you can take full control and get the most out of your controller. One last thing I would like to mention, you can always get a Brook Super Converter for your modded controller, but the negative part about those, it takes a different device for each console and each controller, so you will need multiple converters. Here is a converter to use a PS3 controller on the PS4, and then there is this one using the PS3 controller on the Xbox One. Here's Xbox 360 to Xbox One, and Xbox 360 to PS4, with there being even more for other combinations. You can see how this would start to pile up devices and money spent. With Brook Super Converters, you will be limited on what console they work for, while the Titan devices work with any controller on any console. Imagine all of those Brook Super Converters in a single device. If you plan on using only one controller and on only one console with no script or macros and no mouse or keyboard, then maybe go with the Brook Super Converter. However, if you want multiple consoles and multiple controllers along with a mouse and keyboard with macros and scripts, go with one of the USB devices. I also want to mention USB adapters. With the Titan 2 supporting basically any USB device, you can plug these adapters in and enjoy old school controllers. I have a wired one that works, as well as a wireless one that works. For example, here's SNES to USB, or like this one here, a wireless adapter for Wii U controllers to USB. I have been using Flash converters, and just this company alone has almost any adapter you can think of. I have seen Nintendo 64 to USB, Sega Saturn to USB, or like this combo one here, Nintendo 64, Sega Saturn, and PS2 in one single device. 3 controller ports for 3 different consoles. There are many more adapters than these, but this is just a quick example. Want to play Mega Man 9 on the PS3 with the Super Nintendo controller? Now you can. The gaming devices allow for a longer lifespan. You will be able to use it for many more hours than a modded controller. For example, Call of Duty wreaks havoc on my L3 button. I need to buy a controller almost every year after playing a Call of Duty game. With the gaming devices, you can use a new controller and have the same old mods and scripts. Not only that, but scripts are updated and optimized for new games. What may have worked on one game might not work so well on its sequel. And that is where the Titan or Cronus would really shine over a modded controller. Patches are released to try and disable certain mods, but scripts can always be updated. I don't run any scripts that would be considered cheating, but I like gaming devices for the cross-gaming functions. I like to use a PS4 controller on my PS3 console or on my Xbox console. And this is not something a modded controller can do alone. You could buy a modded controller and something like a Brook Super Converter, but that is just adding on to the cost, and still, that's only one controller on one console. Think of these gaming devices as a modded controller and all of those converters in a single device. Long story short, in my opinion, I would go with the Titan 2 over any modded controller. I am ICC, thanks for watching y'all, peace.